You know what? I could take up my hair while I'm talking to y'all. Let me take up my hair. I want to hear some air. It's a little bit cold, but not too bad outside. I might close the window or close the patio soon. Uh, so I feel like the thing is too close to me. Anyway, y'all. Y'all, you know that song that's stuck in my head from the other day? Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa. I'm trying not to make y'all see my upper because I am just in my PJs today, y'all. Keeping it real with you. We're chilling right now. I have things to do, but I don't know if it's gonna get done. Anyway, so I want to talk about cutting off toxic family. I mean, you could add in friends and other relationships in there too, but I'm really talking about family. But again, any other type of relationship can be added to this mix. I hope all is well with everybody. Um, so as you guys know, if you don't follow my page, if you're not subscribed to me, you wouldn't know. But I'm a survivor of childhood trauma. From my earliest memory, it was just abuse, dysfunction, toxic. Um, yeah, there was no affection, there was no bonding, there was no love. It was just the routine of abuse, and I just had to adapt to it. And by the time I really realized how bad it was and how people are not going to change, I had to decide to remove myself from so-called family. You know, by the time I realized that that wasn't really my family, it was, you know, I was well into adulthood. When you're being raised around dysfunction, abuse, you know something's not right, but it's like that's all you know, so you kind of like just go along with it. And so when I finally, you know, got into my healing journey and really understood myself and really started to love myself and get to know myself, I realized the people that I thought were family, and I mean, I've known it wasn't family type of, I knew that I could sense that it wasn't really true family behaviors that I was experiencing growing up because the things that my family would do and say and the way they would treat me was not loving, and I knew it, but I just couldn't put my finger on it. You know what I'm trying to say? I wasn't mentally strong enough to cut off my family. I depended so much on them. That's all I knew. But the first opportunity I got to leave home, I left. And I didn't leave into a better place. It's just a different situation. So I left one toxic family to go into another toxic environment because I just want to get away from my family. And that's sad when you're so unhappy, you're so sick of the abuse that you end up running away from your family. And sometimes you run into a worse, not worse situation, but something that is not healthy, but it's in your mind, it's better, right? You're just trying to get away. Um, I tried for a long time to stick it out with my family, to see if, I don't know, things would normalize. Like, I've always had hope that my family would get it together and the people that I call family would get it together. And I've always just wanted healing for my family. I've always just wanted people to just bring all the issues to the carpet, to start talking about it and stop brushing things under the rug. I grew up in a family where everything was swept under the rug, abuse was tolerated, abuse was normalized, and innocent children were victim blamed. Instead of adults taking accountability, the children were always blamed for something. No one ever took accountability. And so I just got tired. I officially like cut off my all of my family in recent years, in recent times. And You know, even up until a few weeks ago, I tried to reconcile with the family member, but I realized that that family member was still tied to my toxic family. They don't want to let that toxic family go. I just can't do it anymore. Like, I can love you from afar. Like, I can love certain family members and wish you well and not want to deal with you because I don't want that toxic and that abusive mindset to seep into my life. The people who abused me my entire life and who invalidated me, who didn't truly love me, I just don't want to be around that anymore. I don't know if anybody can relate to this. My heart goes out to any child out there right now who is in an abusive, toxic family, and you're just stuck there. No one is talking about things. No one is going to counseling. No one's going to family counseling. No one is saying, hey, something is wrong in this family and we need to get it together. That's the kind of family I wanted. I never had that. I used to always look up to TV shows, the ones who seem pretty normal. You know, TV, they're acting, whatever, right? But I always like admired like the Cosby Show and other families who seem so loving and they actually communicate and talk. Like my family didn't communicate. They screamed, they yelled, and they blamed. I didn't get any support from my family. I always felt like an outsider. I've always felt like the black sheep, the scapegoat. And I always felt like I did something wrong, like something was wrong with me. When there was nothing wrong with me, I was just born into a dysfunctional family and they didn't want to admit their faults. They would just put the blame on me and the children. And every, you know, anytime you are in a situation where you're highlighting the dysfunction in your family, they end up blaming you as if you started it when you were just born in this dysfunctional family. So my family showed me a long time ago that they turned back their backs on me. A real family sees the problem, they see the dysfunction, they see the toxic, and they say, hey, this is not okay, this is not healthy. Let's all go to counseling, let's get help, or let's all have a big family meeting. Let's talk about what's going on. What happened here? How can we do better? I hate that that was not normalized, and I hate that I didn't grow up in that kind of environment, and I try to do that with my children now. And that's why I had to like remove myself from my family that I grew up with, the blood people that I grew up with. And just because they're blood relatives doesn't mean they're true family. Like true family cares about you. True family values your thoughts and opinions. True family listens to you. True family doesn't bully you and make fun of you. True family tried to get to the root of the cause and what's going on, why you're pulling away, why aren't you talking, you know what I'm saying? True family is accountable for their actions. I didn't grow up in a family that were accountable for their own actions. They just would blame and put it on someone else. They didn't talk about things. Like you could tell they knew something wasn't right, but no one would bring it up. Like where did all this dysfunction come from? Why was no one addressing where the dysfunction came from and how we can fix it? They just wanted to sweep things under the rug. And I can't live in a family like that. I just couldn't do it anymore. Of years, my majority of my life, I grew up in a dysfunctional family, and thought things was normal, but it wasn't normal. Doing what you saw being done, you know? And the pattern just continues. And I just said, I can't continue that cycle anymore. I don't want my children to grow up like that. You know, even if it's just me and my children, at least I could say that I'm showing them better as much as I can. I'm showing them the love that I didn't get. I'm giving them the love I didn't get. I'm talking to them. Communication is so important. I feel like I was a very, I really feel like if people took the time to talk to me about things, things would have been better for me, but people just didn't talk. It was just screaming, yelling, like I said, and blaming. And I can't be in a family where we can address things. You know what I'm saying? I'm the kind of person, I want to talk about it. I don't like to feel uncomfortable in the room. I don't want to go to a family function and be fake and phony and no one's talking about it. No one's talking about who hurt you, who violated you, who did this to you. It's just like, don't talk about it or you're getting blamed. And I just cannot be in a room with a big giant elephant and no one is addressing the elephant in the room. So I just had to cut my family off because they didn't want to address the elephant in the room. Okay, so you know, this was even it took me time to even talk about this. You feel weird talking about how you don't deal with your own family. Because it's like, who doesn't deal with their family? But I'm so thankful for the internet. You know, there's some things on the internet that's like, negative and stuff like that. But you see from support groups and stuff like that, people coming out about how their family is dysfunctional, their family is toxic, abusive, and they had to cut their family off. Like you guys know that I always share the what's her name again? The spiritual whistleblower. She is always going hard about narcissistic families, narcissistic mothers, fathers, sisters and brothers, and all that stuff. And you don't realize how bad your family is until you see other families how it's supposed to be, and then other people are talking about their experiences. And I just don't understand how people can be in families knowing there's abuse going on, there's dysfunction, there's toxic behaviors, and no one is saying, hey, we need to do better. They just keep going on like, oh, let's have a family reunion. Let's do this, let's do that, while we're sweeping all the issues under the rug. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I would rather be by myself, and that's not just with family, with friends, with other relationships. I would rather be by myself than to be in a fake situation, to be around toxic people. Like, I don't operate like that. Like, I automatically start to clench up and feel uncomfortable when I'm in a situation where no one is talking about anything, no one is addressing it, and I don't feel safe or comfortable with you. So instead of being fake, I'd rather just not be around you, because you're not going to talk about it. You're not going to be accountable for your actions. It's like, I don't know. But yeah, cutting off family is not easy. But with the more you heal, the easier it gets. When you're not healed, when you're like still stuck in that traumatized, abused, victim state, you're gonna like not want to move. You're not going to change. You're gonna normalize it. You're gonna be like, oh, this is how it is. But when you start to heal and start to truly love yourself, you realize that your family never loved you. My family didn't love me. They just tolerated me. They just, I guess, did what they had to do, feed and clothe, but there was no love, there was no hugs, there was no I love you, there was no I'm sorry, there was no what can I do better, there was no like, there was no how can I support you. It was more so food and other items to fill the gap or fill the void of things that was really needed, which was love, y'all. Money cannot replace love. And I know that people could say, I know people will joke around and say money can buy you love, whatever. And I guess money can help you get into certain positions, but money can't buy you love. And like, I was watching a vlog, a video from someone who is living in her van, and it's a single mom living in the van with her son. And, she looks so organized and well put together, living in the van. Yes, that's not an ideal situation, but when I was growing up, I remember thinking like, I would rather have been homeless, but to have a family that loved me and cared about me. Like, so that mom who's living in the van, she may be homeless, she might not have all the resources she need, but she loves her child. You could tell she really loves on her child. She takes her time with her child. She listens to her child. She's gentle. There's a bond there. I would rather live in a van than live in a house full of people who don't love you, who don't care about you, who's abusing you, who's neglecting you. So don't judge people who are homeless, who don't have a house, because it's about the love. Somebody could live in a tiny one-bedroom apartment, but that's a tiny, loving, happy home. And you can live in a big mansion, but it's nothing but fighting, distance, abuse, neglect. I don't want that. I would, like I said before, I would rather live in a van, like that lady I saw on YouTube, than to. I might even link it in the description of this live when I'm done. But it's not about the size of the home, but it's about the love. All I've ever wanted was love from my family. And my family didn't know what love was, apparently, and they didn't want to try to learn. And like, there's people in my family who were older, and some of them were educated. You would think that at a certain point you get educated enough to know, hey, what we've been doing is wrong. Let's do better. But people still didn't want to address the issues. They still didn't want to address the elephant in the room. And like in my family, there was the educated ones and there were ones who was not educated. You would think the educated ones will take the torch and take the lead. But like I said, some people are just so used to abuse, and they're just so used to it that they don't know how to change, or they don't want to change. And just because someone's educated doesn't mean that they're going to do better. But you would think that educated people would want to do better. But you got some educated people who are still making poor decisions, there's some educated people who are narcissists, toxic. So I can't say education makes you make better choices, but that's the hope that you like. To me, what's the point of getting educated if you're still doing the same stuff? You're still stuck on stupid. Um, I don't know. I don't know, y'all. But healing is key. So no matter how educated you are, if you're not healed, if you're not going to counseling, if you're not going to therapy to address your childhood traumas and stuff like that, and realizing what was right, what was wrong that went on in your life, you're not going to really advance. You're going to be stagnant. So I'm really thankful for my healing journey. I'm thankful for um, the counselors, the therapists who have helped me. There's some ones who were toxic themselves and they weren't beneficial, but I want to thank the ones who were. Like the last type of technique that I tried was the EMDR, eye movement desensitization reprocessing. Look it up, y'all. But that really helped me address my childhood traumas. I'm not gonna say I'm completely cured and I'll never have a bad issue. What EMDR did for me was that I'm gonna have those memories, right? I'm gonna have those bad memories of my childhood, but the way I process them now, the way I deal with them now is not as triggering and traumatic. So the way I see it doesn't put me in a state uh, of terror like it did before. You know what I'm saying? And shame, because I know I did nothing wrong. Y'all, hold on, my lips are dry. Let me go get some Vaseline. I feel like my lips are always dry, y'all. Whew. It's this winter, man. This winter is wintering. Anyway, I would like for y'all to come in and talk. Anybody that can relate to this topic. Hold on, y'all. So cute. Anyway, y'all, I'm not ignoring you, but I would love for y'all to come in and talk about your experience with toxic family and like the. I know some people don't want to cut people off. Like I recently, like I think I already mentioned it, was considering um, reconnecting with the family that we don't speak anymore, but excuse me, I cannot control what that family member does, and that family member refuses to cut off a very toxic matriarch. And I just can't get involved with that anymore because I see that you're not healed. I can't continue a relationship with people who refuse to heal. You know, like an example. Sometimes I can't help situations like I co-parent with a narcissist, and I would love for that person to get help, but I know that person will never get help. It's been 13 years of abuse from this person, and they're not gonna get help. They're not gonna get any better. They're doing the same behavior over and over and over and over and over again. People who don't see anything wrong with their behaviors, they're not gonna go get help. But I can't continue like a direct on regular relationship with someone that they're not going to get help. If I have to co-parent with someone, I do on my terms from a distance, court order, whatever. But for me to have a family member in my life or a friend in my life that's toxic, that's not acknowledging their issues, not trying to get help, not trying to heal and see what they did wrong and what they could do better, I can't continue relationships with people like that. People who are in denial and want to blame you for everything and don't see that anything wrong with their behavior, and want you to just get over it. Like, oh, that was so long ago. Me and people like that can't vibe. I can't vibe with people who love to rush you to get over it. They don't want you to heal. They just want you to get over it. They want you to stop talking about them. So I encourage any of you, who are struggling to cut off family members that are toxic, that are abusive, who won't change, who won't acknowledge, who won't heal, to cut them off. Don't be afraid to cut off toxic family. Just because they're related to you by blood doesn't mean anything, because you can meet some people who are not related to you by blood who will treat you way better than the people who are supposed to be your so-called blood and supposed to love you. That whole blood is thicker than water thing, I don't believe that. Blood is not thicker than water, okay? Whoever loves you the most, whoever shows you they truly love you, whoever acknowledges their faults, whoever listens to you when you tell them they're doing things that you don't like, those are the people who care about you. People who care about you want to do better. People who care about you want to see that you're happy. Yes, nobody can make you completely happy. Happiness comes from within. But if you're telling someone what you're doing to me is hurtful, what you have done to me is hurtful, and they don't care, they don't want to acknowledge it, like, I don't respect that. I don't respect it, y'all. And I just can't deal with it. So I've always been like, I guess I would call myself a loner, like the majority of my life. I've always been like that because I felt like I had no one. I've went through so many like hard times on my own, and my family was nowhere around. And I honestly will always say that I raised myself. Yes, someone else was paying the bills for me to live in their home and give me food, but overall, I had to raise myself when it comes to emotionally and mentally. The areas that I needed people the most, they failed me the most. People were so focused on what you look like. Oh, as long as you're not battered and bruised, or as long as you have clothes in your back, as long as you have food in your stomach and you have somewhere to sleep. That's what the people I grew up with prioritized. They didn't prioritize how's her mental health, how's her emotional health, how's she doing in school, what's going on with her, why, I noticed she's been doing that, why is she doing that? And even when problems were brought to their attention, they still didn't do anything about it. All of my abusers are just living their best life right now, apparently, and no one was held accountable for the abuse that they caused to me. And I can't lose sleep over them anymore. I'm trying to say? I just have to move on with my life and not deal with them. I think some people think that time will heal all. Some people feel like time will make it right, and they'll be like, oh, it's been 20 years, so they shouldn't worry about it no more. I just want everybody to know time is not forgiveness. Letting time pass, when you've done someone wrong and you allow 20 years or 30 years, however long pass, that's not forgiveness. That's not saying I'm sorry. Saying I'm sorry is actually saying the words, actually apologizing, actually showing changed behavior. That's true apology. That's true. Um, you need something? I'm not gonna be on much longer, y'all. But it was on my heart, I guess, to come and talk about this.
I changed my mind. I'll just stay.
Ooh, my nose. Feel like I want to sneeze. Anyway, y'all, I guess I say all that to say don't be afraid of cutting off toxic relationships. And even honestly, sometimes it's some situations where you know that you're the toxic one. You know that you have some traits in you that need to heal. And I respect people who remove themselves from other people's lives instead of tormenting them, instead of like being not a positive influence. You know what I'm trying to say? So whether someone is being abusive to you or toxic to you, remove yourself from them. Whether you're abusing someone, remove yourself. The right thing to do is treat people right, right? But if you can't treat people right, just leave them alone. If you can't treat people right, I say leave them alone. If you know, get your healing on your own. Get yourself together on your own. You don't need people around to heal. Solitude is there's nothing wrong with solitude. There's nothing wrong with taking time to yourself. Anyway, I've been talking to myself for almost 30 minutes. I guess I need to go live a little bit later when more people are on. But let me see what you guys said in the poll so far. Have you cut off toxic family? 80% of you said yes, and 20% of you said no. So that's 5 people. So 5 people said, what am I talking about? I can't think. So for the 5 people that voted, most of you said you have cut off toxic family, and 20% of you said no. So some of you are struggling. It happens all the time. I see a lot of people around people who abuse them. I mean, sexually abuse them, physically, all type of stuff, and they're still like, oh well, that's my mom, that's my dad. Oh, if my dad didn't whoop my butt, if my mom didn't whoop my butt, I wouldn't be the man I am today. Like, people need to really be honest with themselves. That was abuse, that was traumatic, and you're not going to talk about the negative ways that have affected you. You know what I'm saying? Your anxiety, your you know what I'm saying? There's negative effects to that, and people want to talk up, the people want to highlight, oh well, I'm a doctor now, or I'm this and that now. People don't want to be completely honest about what how their childhood affected them, because they don't want to feel like they're disrespecting certain family they're supposed to respect. I don't care about respect, because if somebody respected you, they wouldn't put their hands on you, they wouldn't have abused you. Respect is a two-way street. I feel like there's a lot of children, holding on to, and I'm talking about adult children. There's a lot of adult children who are holding on to toxic family because they're family, and that's all you knew. But you can create a whole new family. You can find more family and friends and strangers than your own blood. Yeah. Again, it's better to be alone than to be around abusive, toxic people, or people who don't see or hear you. They just want to take advantage of you. If I don't feel safe in any type of environment, I don't want to be around it no more. And again, my family never loved me. Not one person in my family loved me. No one ever tried to save me. No one looked out for me. I raised myself. I got myself through school. I got myself through college. I've been on my own. Yeah, there's people who help you along the way, but I'm talking about overall. I did this on my own. I never had a good support system. I've been just thugging it out for 41 years. Thugging it out, doing my best to continue surviving. And that's all I know how to do is survive. So I just want to share with y'all that, and don't be afraid to cut people off, y'all. If they're hurting you, if holding on to people is hurting you more than it's helping you, it's time to cut them off. Don't feel bad, because they're not feeling bad for hurting you. We are giving abusive people way too much grace. Way too much grace. Oh, that's just how he is. Oh, that's how she is. Oh, that's how she was raised. Or this happened to her. Or her mother did to her. I don't care. At a certain point, people need to snap out of it and wake up and realize that what you've been doing is wrong. What I've been doing is wrong. I need to do something different because it's not working. And if you're not able to do that, I don't want you around me. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what happens in your past. There's a lot of education out there. There are libraries, there's books, there's the internet. There's no excuses for educating yourself anymore. If you see certain traits in you that you're not understanding, go and Google it and see why you're behaving that way. People don't want to learn about themselves. They don't want to look in the mirror and educate themselves. People don't want to look at the man in the mirror. Okay, like Michael Jackson said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make yourself, wait, no. If you want to make the world a better, if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Na 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 na. Yes, Michael Jackson said it way better than me, but y'all, until people look themselves in the mirror and admit their faults and do better, you shouldn't be involved with them. But some people are just, some people have Stockholm syndrome. They don't want to separate themselves from their abusers. There's billions of people on earth, y'all. There's somebody else who will love you. Somebody else will love you. You're lovable. Hi, Syed Kashif Raza. Hello from Pakistan. How are you today? Anyway, anybody who's here, please give this live a like. If there's no likes on this live, I see 10 people watching. I would appreciate a like. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah. You said you're good. I'm well. I'm well. It's just a lazy Saturday. I'm still in my PJs. I just want to talk about that real quick. I'm gonna go live again later. I think I might continue with the Nazaya case, but I don't know. I have reached out to Nancy Grace on Twitter, on what's that other thing, that other app? On a couple of apps, I have messaged, I think I even emailed her. I messaged Nancy Grace. I'm hoping that she covers the Nazaya Harris case. Such a tragic case. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, look at my last lives. You'll see that. And also, you can just YouTube it, Google it. Nazaya Harris was a 13-year-old girl who was sexually abused for years by her aunt's boyfriend, and he based on the evidence, he killed her, but they can't find her body. But based on the last interactions and communications she had, he was the last person to see her alive. And so it is assumed that he's the one who took her life, and he is pleading innocent right now, or not guilty. So, but he's a known child predator, and he was allowed to be around children, because the woman he was with has very low self-esteem. Any self-respecting woman who loves themselves are not going to allow a child predator or a abuser in their home with children. So if your husband is a child predator, if your boyfriend is a child predator, you need help. You need to go to counseling, go to therapy, get some help, because that's not love. People who love themselves don't allow abuse. People who love themselves don't allow abusive people around their children, or around children in general. And that's just real talk. A lot of people need healing, and it's really sad that we're in such advanced time and people are still refusing to go to counseling. People are still refusing to go get help. People are not realizing how bad and toxic their ways are affecting people. Like I always say, we're only human. We're not robots. We're going to make mistakes. You keep making the same mistakes. You're not trying to do better. You're not apologizing. You're not being accountable for your actions. Why are you even here on earth? Like, I don't even know. Like, your point, I just don't get it. If you're not advancing in life with your mental health, your emotional health, I don't really see your point. I think people are more focused on wealth and money and outer success and image than they are about their internal. There's too many people too focused on their image than they are about what they really are, who they really are, when no one's watching. That's who you really are. When no one's watching, that's the person you truly are. How are you treating people when no one is watching? That's who you are as a person. And if it's not good, then you need to go get some help. But some people will never admit to their wrongs. Anyways, I'm gonna come off live now, y'all. But I will go live later. I have laundry to do. We have to go to the grocery store. I don't want to do it. I should have did it earlier. I've been stalling. It's about to be 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock right now. So I'm gonna come off the live stream and I will talk to y'all later. A biento. Buongiorno. Let me end the poll, y'all. Have you cut off toxic family? And 57% of you said yes, and 43% of you said no. All right, that's your choice. But I highly recommend that you guys go to counseling. If you were abused as children, if you grew up in hot toxic families, abusive families, I suggest you go make an appointment with a mental health professional. And don't keep stopping until you find the right one. Every counselor, every therapist is not going to be helpful. Some of them need to heal as well. Yeah, so yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna come off. Please, I'm not hold on. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm coming off. Hold on. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to y'all later. Don't say anything.